Take back. Maybe I should kill myself. Blame it on me, baby. So blame it on my ATT paper. It's my cell. I'm blowing my own cell. I'm not rowing, make no mistake. Like, we're going with the wind. Just screwed it now. There's surf. I'm not going to stop the song. I'm just going to hope that, the music markers or copywriters recognize that I'm just loving. To the dark, send me deeper to the dark. It's like old times, right? Old times like new times. Like, I could be on my feet, but blame it on my... non-distinction for standing and seating. La, la, whoa, whoa, la, 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 da, da, dee, dee, say. Okay, we'll simmer a little bit. Send me deeply to the top. Send me deeply to. That's care of Unlimited Gravity dubstep remix. Check him out. Active Melody Dubstep channel. Subscribe, all that good stuff. Or do none of it. Just fucking love it. And then every time somebody hears it and loves it too, they're loving it with you. Bo, bo, bo. Bo, 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 bo. Blame it on the ADD. Add not subtract unless it's under reasoning. Subtractive reasoning. That's not a thing. La, la, la. And so, okay. There's going to be like, just keep mooring of it. Because that's the mood I'm in. I had like a wicked, hi, I'm Elliot. I had a wicked, and hi, Tony. Hi, friend, Tony. And hi, friend. All the friends. I had a wicked, like, title for a talk that I uncharacteristically didn't scribble down because I was uncharacteristically becoming attenuated with like my multidimensional self, but just like here in me. So like download is not correct enough of a term to describe my experience today because it is perpendicular to it arriving from somewhere else. And I wouldn't like call it like a singularity either, because you're still there and I'm still here. And like, I'm sure that's copywritten somewhere. Thanks, Ray. Good, Fed. Upload. You know, that's my style. I'm more of an uploader. Even when I think I'm downloading, I'm really uploading. What can I say? I've got a strong certainty. I still apply it to everything. But today is a nice day. It's what, September 18th? Saturn's gone direct today. And I haven't even thought of it really as like the lever of my ripening. But it's totally connected, because everything is, and anything is, if that's the way you want to look at it. But yeah. So what is it? Wednesday, September 18th, 2019. There's like a 9 in there, and a 20 in, a 18 and a 19 and a... Well, actually, you know what? There is some kind of rhythm and rhyme in that. I just thought it was going to be and as it explains in an ordinary day. It's an electric yellow star day in the dream spell, which is all about beauty and art and service and activation. But it's not like a prophesized like oracle day or some shit, you know? And yet, it feels like in another linearity of time, we would celebrate birthdays as a kind of anniversary. And then we would teach the arrival of this day. Living would be on purpose, this becoming. And its nature is that you'd anticipate it being like today. Okay, today's almost over. Tomorrow. Okay, today. For at least, I want to say a year, but a long, just insert long number that you relate to. But it's like, okay, right. Well, in my experience, the like crazy that is the ordinary, I would say started about, really, let's say a year ago. Let's say a year ago and 20 days. So it's 385 days. 3, 8, and 5. Lots of pretty things. And after about 6 weeks, so 46 weeks ago, is probably when on the daily, I was kind of like, mission accomplished, right? Sorted. Let's get stable with it. "46 weeks or 54, and a great deal many more lifetimes than that ago." And I don't know how else to describe it but by being myself. And that's, I've never been so here with it. And which is why I forgo my feet to sing and dance in my seat at the opportunity and responsibility, I reckon, of in some way sharing my shine with my friends. So I thought of this like really cool, I don't know, thing to say, because I was inspired by something else. I couldn't remember it. And that's nice. But nothing else came to me, and of all the little things that I've scribbled about, like gonna talk about, could talk about, like I don't even want to talk about anything, you know? I just want to kick it and have like fun a little bit. Because I feel like I never have. And there's like a happy joy, like welling of tears going on right now, but like it requires one, like if I could see your eyes right now, it'd be happy tears. Or I'm such a touchy feely guy. Like I would probably like lean over and like put my hand on your knee, or like, you know, like a kind of like commemorative push or something like that. And then you'd do something like more cheesy than that, but like softening, a kind of like okay, but the okay is not an allusion to anything except like that moment and that emotion happening. And this is the way that I prayed it would happen. That I couldn't expect it, and that it wouldn't need anything special except my everyday special. And that it could happen before even my own sense of mission accomplishment. Before even I am like, good job, El, you did it. But like before turning that corner, I used to do cross country when I was a kid. I was exceptional at it in practice, but at the school meets, I only performed averagely. I, of course, now know that places and environments have different resonant fields, and people together, especially children, can really displace those fields. They don't have to, but that's been our upbringing. And that I've always been superbly sensitive to those fluctuations. And whatever, man, like I'm super like down with being, I was always like the second fastest kid in school, or the fastest kid in practice. But kind of just like, I would be in the relays, whether it was swimming or running, I would typically be the first. So I wasn't the lead, or sorry, like the lead, like what is it, the fucking fourth batter, the DH, the slugger, the home run hitter, or whatever, you know, the bringer upper, homer, whatever. I was the one that won the race as soon as we started. But even in my slow going, my reaction time. Slow down, Elliot. You need to go. You need to slow. You need to calm down. You're being too loud. When I listen to songs, it's like the universe singing to me. So when Taylor Swift, I'll like say Tay, so it resonates with all the tatas. But it's just Taylor and me. So when she came out with that song, and I was listening to the words, and like I'm fucking like rocking out wherever I go. And I am learning lessons of slowing down to catch up with myself. But it's like, it's so rude. You need to calm down. You're being too loud. I was like, fuck you. I'm gonna sing this song loudly. Oh yeah, oh yeah. You know that when you type, anybody, you, right? Like, especially because that's how I'm listening. Those words don't need to meet my like cognitive grasp for me to receive them in the moment, and that I am responding to exactly what you're saying. So it's not even like we're going back when I read. It's more of like, we've been laughing for 5 minutes. Remember that thing you said? Let's talk about that again. I'm going to stop at the we need to get hangouts because, Tammy, nothing's good enough. Hangouts isn't good enough. Twitch isn't good enough. This isn't good enough. So, to varying degrees of implementation, I've created better. But more importantly than any platform is me and you. So thank you for saying that so much, because it allows me to jump on what feels good and maybe just using Hangouts, even if it's just for a day, until I can keep iterating to something better, so that there can be more like byway interaction, until like we're just actually like living all over the world together. Ooh, Tammy, are you Virgo? Okay, so you like just fun facts. I when I read that Virgo's the only female zodiac sign, I didn't know that. Because I kind of did know that, like I knew that, but then when I didn't know that the way you were saying it, and that made me think of, I always thought of Aquarius as a female, and only really recently I don't know, read something that it caught my attention that is referencing the Aquarius sign as a male. And then for me, there's the twins. So, because I'm Gemini, which is always like a man, like it's a brother and sister. At least to me, like to my unformed and so forming impressionable self, coming from like a voodoo background where astrology was like a thing, or this, the Leo, Gemini, wonderful. It's where I kind of like found it and kept going. Anyways, yeah. So for me, that's one. But anyway, and then snake, this it's so interesting. I kind of feel high. I probably seem high. I am high, but just not on like the drugs that I would associate with feeling this way. It's awesome. And although I feel a kind of like boom, 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 like how can we be shaking with like energy and like a kind of enjoy, and at the same time though feel so like stable? It's new to me. Aquarius, the water bear. Ophiuchus, the snake bear. When I first came across Ophiuchus, it was around like it involved myths and sure, legends around a male persona. But then most recently, it was a female persona. So all that to say, Capricorn and Aries have never been gender nominative to me, except by reference of people that I know in my life. And so they've been feminine. And Capricorns, because like all the people, like my mom, my mom most especially, but also my dad. But he's, although it's supposed to be the father, he like anyways. Libra, I think of as feminine or female. All that to say that, and Virgo is the only woman zodiac. Like all that doesn't make that untrue. While not, and I'm not like being hippy dippy facetious. Like, and like we're all like we've all got the right answer, yeah. Yeah, but like all the way. And the air signs are the humans, but are they? Anyways. For real, girl. Like, we're going to be neighbors. I definitely grew up with ouch. Ouch. And then, like, with the psychic fingers in palmistry, that's what you would call them. In actuality, in childhood, it was scrawny, skinny, alien, ET looking fucking fingers. So, of course, there was even an insecurity with, like, but you know what? You get over it. And it is kind of where, like, it's kind of part of the inspiration of my name. After God. Physically being there, it's enough. Yeah. Oh, I love that you're a Virgo sun. I was born after tornadoes too. There are two sets of twins. I believe it. And I also especially know that it depends greatly on your imagination. Because twins, do you know, like Thomas, that name means twin. Where's my cards? Yeah. When I think of twins, I also see two and winds. Like sail, 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 sail. I think of intertwined. I think of 6 and 9. And I have been, even before now, like really, it's probably only like, and yesterday too, but longer than that, it's been really filling in this graspable achievement of people living in a community. It's like what I see is like a campground, kind of by vantage, like that's what it looks like. But all it really means is that there's lots of trees and there's water and there's the sun or the moon. And barefoot is like the role. And everyone active, working, and no one doing their part. There's nothing to do. And being super effective and developing all like the newest, most awesomest things. But anyways, that day is not so far off because there's not a lot that we need, and nothing more that we want than each other. I reckon that your mom would love to have that conversation with you now, and like that's me actually being sensitive to not knowing if your mother's still with us. Just actually reflecting that the medium would be specific, just turning sound off. I don't know. That's just what it was. Sorry, let me finish that thought because it's actually in direct response to what you just said, to what you're saying to me and sharing. That my not thinking is that it reminds me of often how a lot of people didn't tell me anything about anything, and how that spared me misinformation, but inspired me by assumption. You know, like I assumed people that knew stuff knew what I thought they could know, and had no one like that to tell me, no one around to tell me it. Anyways, I'm with you in like there's no other way to look at that than as a blessing. So I'm going to do a tarot singularity. I'm going to do a tarot readish. It is a tarot, right? I don't, and maybe that is a little bit play on words. I just want to move away as far as like my personality of being misinterpreted as reading. Although I'm wicked at that with people, awful with that with myself, or rather it just becomes a spell book, not of divination, but of other questions and answers. In fact, it doesn't matter what I ask it, really, in terms of like what I'm kind of wishing. I've had to like find other ways of having that kind of conversation with myself. Journaling is the most potent conversation, and sometimes this. But yeah, like it's like Although it took me like a long time over this year, especially, where I was like, I just realized like, oh, your spirit fucks with me through tarot because it's always just telling me whatever it fucking wants to tell me, like a boss. I'm hilarious. So, like my spirit self. So I was going to do this regardless of the timing, but it is fall equinox. And I get torn between fall and autumn because I've always found them both such pretty sounds. I love autumn. It's a pretty name. I love the TMN. The sound of it, the resonance, the autumn. Like I feel that like a soft humming, almost, but it's like a thud beginning under my belly button. Autumn. It's always, and then just like the letters. A-U-T-U-M-N. Like it's always pretty. And maybe T-U-X, T-W-X-Y-Z, like the T-U-M-N, the T-U and the M-N, right? There's like order that's recognizable or inescapable. By now, I think, especially on a presentation like today, that this like need not require explanation, because by like we're friends and you're like, oh, it's just like this. It's not special. Or rather, like he is what he is, and he's kind of like this all the time. Don't ask me to try and describe what this is, though, because even when it's different, it's this. But it's also like a teaching opportunity to remind all of us, and interesting for me to know to myself, that my little play on words and my pausing to have fun with rhyme or like linguistic synchronicity is like the fruit of life. And that nothing I say or you say or anyone says has meaning beyond ourselves. So I can talk like this. And by like this, I mean hearing me being like, this is recording. And that's not even smack. Like legit. You're not even talking. There's no point. What did you just say? Except the voice is like quiet and only there to elicit or to illustrate a point, because it's not really there, but was there. The self-judging Elliot, recognizing that, but it did make sense, and I made sense, and I was really speaking specifically to you. And isn't it lovely how we didn't have to stop and think? And this is an admission, because like thinking isn't everything. Whew. Like I was saying, in this like deeply gorgeous, enraptured, filling, whatever is destination, like destiny, but still going. I think that perfectly led to now here. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to go. And by go, I mean nowhere, but just here. John Constantine, the Hellblazer, wizard of the DC universe, slash Keanu Reeves' alter ego. He's almost got like no powers except his cunning, his charm, his intellect, his brutishness, and this one thing called a synchronicity wave. Yeah, get this. Synchronicity wave. And what it is, it's always on, but it's a kind of like fortuna. It's like the universe just kind of puts him where he needs to be. Maybe even his soul being inspired to be who he is in time. He's almost like time's constant. And I only like read that recently. That's fucking cool, right? He's the only person in the DC universe. He's actually one of the rare people in all comic universes that ages with time. Ages with time? Like, I don't know. He started when he was like 20 or something like that in the 40s or 60s or something like that. And then now he's like 60 something. You do the math. And the whole time he's been synchronicity waving. The fantastic is ordinary. Hi. Right? Snot. It's great to have you, Kate. And you, and you, and you. Okay, so I'm gonna do a poll. First of all, everything is about love. So and everything is relationship. So we're not gonna get away from that. That said, I'd like to explore like a little different take on it, a little writing, because I'm not like me and you together. What the fuck are we asking? Don't ask anything. But let's. What can we get behind? What are we agreeing on? What are we seeing together? Putting one foot in front of the other, and that is where you'll find me. So I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna the world is a beautiful, light and dark place with a lot of things happening, and those of us that are doing it together. Whatever we're calling the do and the it and the together. So in respect and regard to the loving all and the adventure of distinction and the preference for self and other, with the all the tributaries that lead back to the lakes and the rivers, in recognition of the one ocean seeing. We can now just talk about us and what it can all mean for like our being. Our being. And it's cute, right? But let's like really go for it. Almost like I hate like what's to come, as I kind of alluded to forever. I want to know what's to come. I'm more fast. I'm literally fascinated by ways of seeing what is. And this is cool. So that's what my hand feels like. So there's still like presence. Like obviously this crew makes sense. And that's the only card that fell out singly. I do everything my way. I form all of my ways around and along with ways I've picked up from me and you. I own nothing. I've discovered nothing. And I love nothing. So I love this card. Fun fact, 8 and 11 switch in time and depending on decks. This is what it said in the little intro book of my very first tarot, which has moseyed. But that the strength card and the justice card were commonly interchanged. Now, I've never seen it interchanged, but I read that. So that's always been a part of my interpretation. And like I said, with the scales and like the feminine, and less than that or more, a kind of androgynous, and androgyny. Fuck that word. But the magician and strength for the loop. I feel like that fucking lion, man. Today. And I feel like her. I feel like all the yellow that they're in. Can look at that, like the infinity symbol, and then make it look like a Pringle. Oh shit. Oh shit, did he just do that? Oh shit. Oh shit, he did that. What are you seeing? Is that an 8 or is it a Pringle? What up? Namaste. So reversed is really just a way of looking at it. Note how what I just said was like the obvious, but what you heard and what I expressed wasn't, and yet it was still conveyed. Noticing that more is what brings us more and more together. And it's like, it's added skill in all of us. It's super cool. The new now. I think with the lovers peeking their feet out, the Knight of Cups on the face of the deck, and this arriving when I flipped it like this. So what's reverse really mean? Like, I'm reversed to you. If I wasn't, I'd be facing that way. Or is that reverse? Because if I look down at this and just like put it on its feet, it's going that way. So the collective profession, what we're all feeling together is the strength coming through. And a kind of peace. I can speak for myself, like a kind of peace in the beast. And I have to believe that her heart is beating a little faster than usual. Playing with the lion. I'm only doing lieutenants and corporals. I'm kidding. I'm not. I don't know. I'm just kind of doing my own thing. But okay, if you ask me a question and you frame it in a collective way, then I will engage it. I just split the deck. There's a lot of that. That's really special. And still underneath the deck. Well, let's do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, take this as you will, but there's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of faith, like faith in the face of doubt, of the returning, and also a deception of what keeps coming back, as something holy. Instead, there were just gaps left by the swords grounding. The Knight of Cups is a steed of symbol. Everything is a gesture of love, a sword of love, a wand of love, a star, a pentacle, a coin of love, a cup of love. And their vessel is their character. And the plume is not hoti-toti, the canter, not a flare. An honor like a parade, with no one behind, nothing but air. A message from Cancer. In some ways, the youngest water sign, in others, the first. A feminine, a deeply feminine origin. That by virtue of tandem, begot its first heir, the King of Cups. So in this case, not the youngest sign representing, but the first. And certainly not the last. Because underneath the King is a new beginning. A new beginning in the world. A world a world that was frigid, or cold, or just trying to feign Arctic, like a fox or a wolf, but really just a yippy dog. This card, yeah, it always, it always like smelt like a sunny winter day. For those of us that enjoy the winter season and can relate, it didn't snow that day or that night, but it snowed. So the lawns have like almost like an icing cake that crunches through but is soft underneath. And I remember when I was a child that snow kind of looked blue because our sky, which is blue again, but hadn't faded to that washed out gray yet. And the sun, especially white against the blue. This is a general advice for everyone listening, very specifically to how it can most relate to you. Look up. Like, look up, and with your look, lift up. The lie of being blind in our daydream. Come back to the real world, pay attention. As the fool looking into nothing, has the fool not looking at the edge of the cliff. The fool may jest and is never an idiot. Just because you're walking at the edge of the cliff doesn't mean you need to see it to know it's there, and that you still don't have your eyes exactly where it is most, like, I want to say vital, because the pretty flower is, it kind of looks behind him, but does this look behind me? Can our new beginnings be at once an offer and, like, it's almost like take me, but also in like a yes. And then like the spectrum also of like, this is yours. And whatever this is standing out, see the zero? See how his staff is the same like pigment? And then you see how the sun is kind of like lined or ringed in that same color style? Now look at the picture formed by the counter space. Like, instead of seeing the zero, see only the symbol of the yellow in the middle. And then find all the other opportunity in there. Sometimes look down, but look up from down, to see yourself at another angle. That is just one, which is why it's an alpha and an omega. And can you imagine her head looking that way, and the back of her head, like Brahma, is a face looking over the contrary shoulder? What if there's two bodies there back to back? And so there's really just one wand, but held by each. And just different ways of seeing the same, to see together, but as different. And not without each other. The Four of Swords looks like waiting, but I see like a sarcophagus, or like a coffin or a tomb opening, right? Like it's slid open. What if the autumn equinox which represents a kind of sway of half light, half shade. What if the whole equinox is a dimming that's also the start of a new day? Because the moon is more than just a moon. How many moons does Saturn have? How many moons does Jupiter? There's one's called Titan, one's called Uranus. What's the moon called? The moon? No, man, that's a lie. The sun illuminates and the moon enlightens. And all of the flack, the chaff, the veils, which is really just light pollution in between all the cell phone towers, steals the gaze of the man on the moon. Like gravity, like a magnet. Away from strength, away from the world. But it's time again to listen. This is powerful. 5 is often a number in conflict. And that's a lie. 5 is unison. 5 isn't the 5th number. And when I see this card, I see Not two people walking away, but one person stopping, seeing, and about to call out, yo, hey, come check this out. Let me show you my swords. Homoerotic, maybe. If by homoerotic I mean homo sapien and erotic. But like, it's like, hey, free swords for swords people, swords persons. And like, this is the picture taken right before, like Buddy just turned around and was like, I was just thinking I want one. 7 is a number of faith. But why do we have to be fighting and not planting? Especially the wands of our ideas. My face would probably look like this if I was climbing a hill, carrying these big ass staves. And how else would I carry this in my hand if the going was troublesome, but the burden like worthy to arrive at the top and then plant it one after the other? Because you don't want to risk dropping one. And it's precarious, the footing. But that's why we're building. And whether it's a mountain or an anthill, wherever we are going, wherever we want to be, it can always feel like in some way in our own world, in our own like travailing, that somebody's got to do it first. To make way for like other firsts. Just a few more now. The Ace of Swords is saying, to stop reducing. Stop reducing me to upright and reverse. I'm a fucking sword. I'm wherever you point me. Just wherever you point me. There is my light. Raise me or put me in the ground. But follow the length of me. And find my crown. Which I feel like goes back to the strength and the ordinary. Because there's a humility and a headstand. And honor. And then more pragmatically, we don't need towers to transmit to each other. We just transmit to each other. We're giving out swords. And we're looking at the spilt cups, we're looking at the water. Because we're tired of looking at the cups. When there's a river flowing right in front of us. That's 9, 9. 9. The last message for this story is that the good that we are, and the good that we'll do is not separate from the good that we've done. And when all is said and forgiven, released, and not held, not forgotten. But when we come into our truth, in not no airy fairy way, but in like star power, we gain access to what the stars have always been doing. It feels like everything is a restart or a new beginning, or things need to end. Like something, it's all been done before, or there ain't nothing done worth doing. And instead, what if we just weren't picking up what we were putting down? Yeah, I'm gonna let that go. Although that was there. So. And then I'm gonna come there, and then I don't know. We'll see what's next. I might be done. Because gosh, I feel lovely with you. And there's more, guys. I'm starting another channel. I might be putting out a like I can cure. I don't know. It's like, it's kind of tongue in cheek, but it's really not. It's like I can cure your narcissist, which is basically, but like it's like, anybody can say that they do anything if you make the requirements stiff enough. It's like, I can cure you of your narcissism if you can listen to everything I'm about to tell you and give me like the right, like the and like smile. If by like the end of this exchange only you can smile, you'll be cured. Which isn't even lost on me, but like, it's funny how cure is in common perception. It's like something given, like not like from you unto you. Cure me of this. It's like, well, now you gotta cure yourself. Anyways, that was like a huge tangent, and I'm like not really gonna do that because I don't know. I might, because it's just funny for me, and I love making myself laugh. There are like tons. First of all, narcissists. Fuck you. Like that's just a word. And it's like totally clickbait. Narcissists think that there's like a whole fucking genre of shitty people that think they're good. And that's like really kind of who I want to be like, hey, I love you. And this is why I don't like you. You know, but all you gotta do is want to change. And then any self-examined, and thusly self-measured action as determined to be progressive. It takes a lot of acceptance of just of like difference. Anyways, the world is not the way that it seems. And so yeah, anyway, so it's kind of like it's because the whole like everybody's got a narcissist, someone. It's like, oh, help me with this person, help me with that person. You know what? To be fair, like everyone could use help. There's no bad way to ask and offer help. So I wouldn't turn that down. My joke is like there'd be like a notice that says like there's only one way that I will deal with narcissists for people. And that's face to face. And after, no, you know what? That's interesting. It's so cool how like I can have these free flowing concepts in my mind. But by virtue of our sharing and like there being this bit of an audience, that my intuition, intuitive like speech guiding is kind of like, there's no real way to say what you mean and really not be confused about it. Imagine that you're a star and that you've lived forever. And the way that you live forever is that you shine. And you shine more. You just shine more the more you see light. And the more you make light. So all of us together, not drifting, but like the lazy pool, coasting on a river of light, starlight, ambrosia. Imagine, just imagine. And so the sun isn't a light source to anything except it's like a porthole in a ship to see yourself. And all of the light that you've ever seen is available to see you through that window. And then imagine forgetting that. Imagine being pushed ashore in a land of no sea. Where not moving feels like drifting. And living feels like sleeping. Imagine that your memory lives on in the way that you choose to be, no matter what you see. So marooned on this island of no land and no sea, you still waited, but not waiting. To find where you've only remembered, you've forgotten because you're remembering what you've always been, so what you only know. After living enough life is our only true memory. Imagine never giving up. Imagine bathing in the light. Imagine the brightest darkness. That it's like what sleep, the best of it. We would hope to feel like. It's like when we want to, it's like, oh, I just want that dark, while still awake and unfatigued. But that palming over your eyes, but for only half the time. Because when you're not your moon enlightening, you are the sun illuminating. And only after your eyes get used to the bright of your own awareness, do the forms render. And your vision adjusts to recognize that the light is just your light. And when you're in it, it lights up every other only just lights that have always been with you and that you thought you knew. And you called, I know you, what you look like, your sound. But in the moment of eternity spent in the reception of your fullness in transition, there's a never paused, unmomentary, jaw-dropping awe of revealing what you believe to be the most beautiful. Having each other. Is the only navigation. Oh, goodness. Thanks for that. I'm going to read the pretty intentions, and then I feel like I'm going to go mosey. Like maybe, actually, I feel like it's going to be a good time to do a little meditation. Closing my eyes. I love swords too. Tammy, because I love you and we're having a conversation and I'm very grateful for it, I'm going to address let this world be the only world, your world and mine. And all I mean is say that world then, if we're going to create comparison. Because the way that you communicate is meaningful and useful. And in case that gets mistakenly heard, I'm speaking specifically the way that you do it is like you do it good. And wherever this world is that's got you in it is where I want to be. And this world, you're not a lie. And not gonna lie, we don't need much, so that's okay. Oh yeah. The Mars, especially discussion resonates with me. And I'm deeply honored. And it's not about luck. I just want to pretend like it couldn't have been. So that what I'm grateful for and what I mean can stand in comparison. I'm so grateful we found each other. I'm so grateful we made it happen and we're making it happen. I never would have stopped until we found each other. And that doesn't take away at all from the relief and like juicy gratitude. That we did. I'm going to close with this because that's beautiful. What was meant to be will be. Why I found that beautiful in my reading is the was and the will. That neither propose or negate. The only the importance, the making of meaning, the love, the living. That's loving in between those, like what was and will isn't now, which means everything that was, everything that will is what we say was and will be. And that can be nothing and everything. And together we can let it be just one thing. Because the one thing will never stop believing in, trusting, creating, insisting, persisting. If all we want to be is in love, and let that be an inclusive status instead of exclusive, encompassing everything that we do, encompassing the most simple way of our being, then whatever was and whatever will be is our love story. And if it feels at any time like we don't have that, then that's okay. We can find ourselves and our love somewhere between was and will be. The implicit now is that we'll get there and that we are here. And we invented words to try and make the sounds of like, oh my gosh, your beauty makes me feel so good, your life. That souls were born and light shone. And we're the stars. I'm going to go because I'm going to keep being this way, which just I think needs to be more personally quiet. I love you. And I feel like that's where we're all going to continue to meet. Have a very forever and a day. Yeah. Or never shy one. Oh, Terry, you're the best. You're my favorite neighbor. And I love you, and I love you, and I love you, and I love you. Do less, play more. I love you a lot. Namaste. Thanks for being with me.